next book that I guess, it's okay. It's just that it's one of those plays when you get
Golden
a book,
Age adventure. A Hidden Years of Wesley Dodds the Sandman.
Well, and I read it, and it's yet another thing where I'm like, okay, I get it, but I don't really care. I just don't care about the character. I see that it's written okay, but
You don't care about the Mad
spark.
Gasser? The antithesis to what Wesley Dodds the Sandman is?
Well, not the Mad Gasser. Isn't that what they called you in college? I think it might have been. The Mad Gasser. That's actually what they call me after an Egg McMuffin.
I was going to say, they call me stay out of my room.
30 seconds with the Egg McMuffin, and you got the fucking Gasser. Give me the credit.
Wesley Dodds Sandman, number 2, written by Robert Venditti, with art by Riley Rossmo, Ivan Placencia, and Tom Napolitano. And as I was saying, the idea when the last issue we had, Wesley Dodds' home burned down. Before the house was set on fire and burned down, we had some random thief who broke in, who found the secret lair of Sandman, and not only his secret lair, but the secret journal that he kept of all the deadly chemicals and gases that he created, trying to create the perfect knockout gas so he could become the Sandman. And we find out in this, they also took, a gas mask as well, where they will use this deadly chemical, a gun and a gas mask, but they will go off at some point and become what I'm calling the Mad Gasser.
I like that you call it the Mad Gasser. At one point, Wesley starts thinking, he's like, listen, I ended up going to the government. Gasser. And it's like an epiphany. He's like, I think that maybe deep down, I really don't want to kill people. I think I might be what they call a pacifist. I still go with the idea that if I'm the general, right, and I'm sitting there, one arm, right? Didn't he have one?
Yeah.
The idea like, hey, we have a sleep gas. I'm immediately like, oh, you mean that non-lethal thing that afterwards I shoot everybody in the head while they're sleeping? I will take that sleep gas. Thank you, Wesley Dodds. Might not tell him that, but I'm taking that. The idea that he's like, oh, these deadly things, unlike my sleep gas, that could be pretty deadly. I don't know, but the whole play of the burned down house, and we know that the big play is, oh my God, somebody's got my journal. You start to kind of meander a bit in this. And in a story like this, where I really don't have much of a connection, I'm being completely honest. I don't really care about Wesley Dodds the Sandman. I've read some of the Sandman mystery theory. It's fine, but the character itself is not anything that I really do care about. And in the whole play of things, I can't say that at this point, I think that I need to, you have that JSA book, but that's ending at issue 12. I don't know if they're going to do anything more because Jeff Johns is going off to do his ghost thing or whatever his imprint is over at Image tied in with that. So I don't even know if it's going to continue. So when I end up having a book like this, I'm like, do I really need to care? And in this, when you meander and like, okay, we're going to do some detective work. That's kind of cool, but it starts to be a slog in my mind.
For the most part, with these 3 books that are coming out, besides for Jay Garrick the Flash, which is dealing with stuff from the past in a present day sense, Alan Scott's Green Lantern.
That could end up as something, though, right?
No. That one has the most promise because of all the stuff that's been built into it. When the Alan Scott one and this one, these are period pieces dealing with Golden Age, JSA individual member stuff, which is cool because you're not going to get these type of stories anywhere else. But the stuff that you're dealing with, it's early days for the character. Like Alan Scott, people are all up in arms because he's gay, so they're not even going to give it a chance half the time, it seems like anyway. But they at least have the idea of the new Golden Age Red Lantern they set up previously. From all the different stuff
that's where you have grabbed onto one.
Exactly. I can't wait to see the origins of this character that we never got to know. Like I'm saying, that one and this one feel like the hidden years stories that it's a piece of this that you can throw into the mix of these comics and they can feel legit.
Well, and we had Alan Scott was actually a Patreon spotlight that if these things don't disappear. If you want to hear us talk about it, you can go to the Patreon, patreon.com/weirdscience there. But Eric was really more intrigued than me because of the idea of that Red Lantern and what this could mean. And
the antithesis of it, like the Mad Gasser is to the Sandman.
Yeah, so when you end up here, Red Lantern, yeah, that's cool. Like you said, a lot of people, the sexuality is going to throw them off and everybody has their own reasons or whatnot. I'm not here to say, whatever. But in this, the Mad Gasser, Like, I don't know that I'm that much excited. Like, you tried to get me excited with a red lantern tying into the Soviets. That seems cool, at least.
It does. And it seems like it has a purpose tied into something that's connected to the Starheart, but in a different sense. Like, that work feels like it works here. But there's some guy who we have this mystery, which I want to say will somehow turn out to deal with Mr. Vanderlyle, who's kind of like the old friend of Wesley Dodds' father, who's trying to help him with the military contract. You know, this Rockefeller type guy. He has everything to lose in this situation. It almost feels like this entire story so far, and it's only been 2 issues. This guy's really counting on selling a military contract using Wesley Dodds' stuff. The sleep gas didn't work. Well, what else has Wesley got? And that's where you go. But this weird Mr. Vanderlyle, who is his, Wesley's father's age, it just seems weird for him to put on a gas mask and have a gas gun with deadly chemicals and start doing shit. But it feels like the only place we have right now.
Because I think it's Vanderlyle, but then when you think about it, it's like, is he testing shit out this way?
Exactly. Why does he have to dress like the Sandman with a black gas mask to show you that he's evil and do this?
I think he dresses like a Sandman meets the Draculus. I mean, I'm telling you, right there, he looks like the Draculus. But even then, the only thing that I could think of, but it doesn't really play out, would be if it is him that he's like, well, I want to do this, but I also have to take care of Wesley because he's going to end up wanting credit, or he's going to know, or he's going to do this, and maybe even connecting to his dad. We're going to find out some, nefarious things that might have happened there. And so that's completely makes sense. We're 2 issues in, it seems very obvious, so maybe it isn't.
But it feels too obvious.
I know, but at this point, 2 issues in, we really don't have much of another option, which we can get. But even though when you're doing this, again, I don't have much of a care or connection with Wesley Dodds. I think that a lot of people, they just want to read stuff from Venditti, which he's a good writer.
I just wish that Riley Rossmo wasn't on art with this.
Well, I actually went through this issue the first time. Didn't really think of the art at all, which is that's a hell of a praise from me for
I agree, because this is the best thing in my mind that Riley Rossmo has done, but it still has that air to it where I want something that feels more polished, more comic book house style.
I think that I'm actually not really telling the full truth, because when I did go through, when I first had where there's a lady going by with her dog on the first page, I think it's really cool. And what Riley Rossmo does do parts is have like the smoke and mirrors for the title is the smoke coming off of the building. You have that he loves doing those little, like, here's a segment where, there's Wesley Dodds in the building, but a lady's walking her dog. Then you get to the next page and you end up having, the guy, the Chief Steele with the big fireman's hat. It looks just like that hat that lady was wearing. I'm like, that's the other guy. And I got a little confused. And then some of the expressions are a little over the top.
It was the style of the time. People just walked around wearing fire chief helmets.
Even the idea where I like where he's going through his burned down office and he's like, oh man. And to really push the point that his journal is gone, you have these moths come out. I'm like, man, those things, they survived the fire. Good for them. Good for them moths, right? So you're doing all this though. And again, the whole play of, okay, I got to see what's going on. Oh, my journal's gone. Oh, my God. Again, we kind of knew that or thought that before. You actually said, I think somebody's going to steal his journal. They ended up stealing some gas masks, all that stuff going on. But then you meander a bit. You're ending up where you're going to go and kind of try to knock some heads to try to get some info, but they don't really feel like they have info. It's weird.
Wesley Dodds even has, like, you want to have that grand reveal of the mad gasser at the end. Like, they're like, but you also have Wesley Dodds having his premonition dreams, knowing that the Mad Gasser is already out and about. Like, I don't know if Wesley fully understands it yet, but you have that in the middle of the book already showing
I hope he's called the Mad Gasser. I really hope so. And yeah, he ends up, and that's even when he sees that, it's kind of like that play of, oh man, I had a dream and they wanted me to, hook up with the military. I was going to give him the sleep gas, but they wanted more deadly things. And I realized I'm a pacifist, but then it looks like he is being given a premonition of somebody else going that extra step to do all that stuff. And again, it makes sense that it's his dad's friend. But then when he gets in, he's like, okay, I'm going to do some things. I'm going to go down. I'm going to look through the records room, and it just starts to meander.
Well, that's the thing, is we at least have something going on, because if the journal was stolen, the gas mask and the gas guns were stolen, why do we have a dead body that was found in the house for what they believe to be a failed robbery and arson to cover the tracks? But there's a dead body in there. okay, we have to figure out who this, like, missing people that's been going around. So we're going to break in, we're going to take some photos and do this thing to try to figure out who this person could be, and then go around and knock some skulls to find out who this person was that's missing that we think that is the person they found dead in the house by going around the old associates of them and just try to figure out what's going on with this mystery. But it just kind of takes a long time just to try to beat some people up, throw some gas around just to find out, like, hey, who's this person? Oh, he doesn't work with us no more. He went legit. Oh, and all these people that he's beating up that he's trying to gas out because he's a Sandman, they ain't falling asleep because they like the meth.
They like the meth. They're on the
just like the Nazis.
You end up where Venditti, I don't know why that's for meth, Eric, but it is now. So when you're doing this, I think that Venditti does a really good job of even setting up, like, this is why old shit is boring to people anymore. You know what I mean? Like, this is like an old-time movie where you're going to have these scenes that may not. And I always say, if you're doing detective work, you have to show some dead ends because then that's real detective work. It really shows you the deal, but it can't be the one thing that you show here. And it takes a long time. He goes into the records room. Diana ends up helping him out. He gets in. At one point, the old man guard, he comes in. Hey, somebody left. And he's outside on the ledge. I mean, there's so many things that don't really need to happen, but they're okay. And then you go off, like you said, where he finds this one guy. He connects him. I mean, you're even there for a whole page where he's doing in the dark room.
He's developing the film, yeah.
I'm like, all right. Like, it's cool. 40s. It's cool. Again,
he ain't got no Polaroid.
That's where I think that it's a cool play that he is really giving you a period piece. He really is. But there's some things about that might not be that exciting, and it really slows the pace down. But again, a Sandman book it should be like this, but he does end up going,
I gotta find the associates of Igor Klug. What was he doing in my house, and what is he up to, and like who is he working with?
You get these guys with their sack of money. Hey there, where's the Jimmy? What was it? Hey, Stevie, you doing on the lookouts? Yeah, I'm on the lookouts, man. I'm on the meth. Hey,
how odd is it though?
Crazy.
We have these people who are robbing this bank, right? Oh, actually, this post office, because they have all this stuff.
Or a department store, they actually say that it was really like gangbusters.
Because they're going in the safe at that point. My bad. I was trying to remember because of the stuff they stole. I was trying to make it work out in my mind. But the idea then, we have Sandman beat the crap out of him. He has to, try harder than he usually does because they're all methed up and not falling asleep right away. But we have to talk about the idea of Stevie, who's not normally a part of this. It's like a son-in-law or something, like a sister's nephew, like a nephew situation. And he's the one who's out there. He's not really doing much. And then at the thing is, when the shit starts hitting the fan, Stevie's like, "Oh shit, I better get the fuck out of here." Runs outside, gets hit by a car in front of two police officers. I'm like, why did we spend so much time with Stevie? Talking about Stevie. Motherfucker ran into the street, got hit by a car, and is dead.
Stevie's dead. I'm like, I hardly knew you, Stevie. I like when at one point they're in there, and I mean, they're talking like it was a character. I actually at first was a little kind of like, who the fuck's this Stevie? They're like, hey, I told you to keep a lookout, Stevie. Stevie is right there at the door and says, how much longer? I think he's still looking out. Hey, I told you to look out, Stevie. Hey, I told you his sister's kid never was good for nothing. And then they get gas. They're on meth. They end up getting gas more. At one point, Wesley shoves.
Sandman is shoving the barrel into this dude's mouth, just trying to fill as much gas. It's almost like the scene in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, where the stuff's not working, so they shove like the fire extinguishers to try to make the catalyst work. Like they're sort of shoving this shit in his face, just throwing all they can into it. And the guy's still not asleep.
I love the idea that Wesley is like, I think I'm a pacifist. He gets in this fight. At one point, have some mercy on these guys. Hit them over the head with your gun or something. I mean, at that one point, this guy's going to drown and just suffocate with this shit in his mouth. I don't know what that's all about. And then Stevie runs off and gets hit by a car. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Stevie, how could you? And then it's like, it was a dead end. Made me giggle. Tell you, we're talking about all this. I didn't hate this issue. I actually didn't care either way. That's my biggest problem. I talk about this with characters that I even do like. Right now, over at Marvel, you have a new Daredevil run, and we're a couple issues in, and I don't have that hook. I don't have the thing that grabs me to say, I need to keep reading this. It's even harder with a character I don't care about. And so by the end, when you end up seeing the Mad Gasser, I'm like, that's not quite the hook yet. But I'll tell you right now, Stevie wins the day. I actually had fun laughing about Stevie, so we can go. But what the telltale thing of this, and I think maybe you'll agree, we're going through this laughing about Stevie, right? I start back paging to see when he first there. Hey, you on the lookout, Stevie. Get to the end where he dead, and I'm like, oh shit, that was the end of the issue. I forgot that was it. That's it. We got nothing. We ended up having a dead end, and the fact that Stevie ends up dying, is this going to be tied in the Daredevil? Is Wesley going to feel very responsible for Stevie's death here because they didn't really have a connection to this guy? But I don't think I need that. We have 6 issues here. Mad Gasser looks cool. I actually think that as I look at it, the main parts of this that you really need to nail with the art, I think Riley Rossmo does a really good job. The Mad Gasser, the stuff with the, Wesley going around. Some of the faces look a little odd. Most of the people with Riley Rossmo have dead eyes anyway, so poor Stevie, I wasn't sure he was dead, but they dead end. Oh, Stevie. Stevie, you didn't make it, but by the end, I didn't hate it. I just don't know why I need to read it, and I hope that eventually I get that feel. But again, okay, what would you give it?
Yeah, I think I would give it a 6.3 out of 10, maybe a 6.5. It's just not a lot here. Yeah. It's just not a lot here for what's going on. Like, I look forward to the next issue for what was set up here, but for the main adventure of the story, we did our due diligence, but it was kind of boring to get to where I want to actually be. So it's weird because, like I said, Riley Rossmo art, not a fan personally, but this is the best Riley Rossmo art that I've seen, and it works well in certain places here. So I can't really be too angry about that. It's just, I don't know, it's just not something that really grabs a hold of me. And that's too, the Wesley Dodds Sandman, not really a character. I talked about this in the first issue. Not one of my favorite JSA members. I could actually, like you say, take him or leave him. I could always leave him because I find the other characters way more fun, way more cool. It's just, here we are, Wesley Dodds, 1940s, and we're doing some Sandman stuff, but I don't know if I actually need that right now, but it's not terrible, the stuff that I'm reading. It just doesn't, last with me.
6.5 for me is, like you said, and that's exactly how I feel. The thing, and I notice, and what I mean, when I say that he hits the things that you need to, when he's Sandman, it's when you get the regular people like Diane, they're wacky. They look crazy, but it doesn't matter because I don't really care about them. They look wacky. They all look like mannequins. They're all walking around with that mannequin look.
Even a gas mask on, though. You look badass.
Damn right. And I think that at one point, also you get wacky stuff. That dream sequence was really cool. The horrific bit of it. That's where Riley Rossmo's art works. And we talked about it. Anytime you get Riley Rossmo, if you get way over the top, supernatural, wacky stuff, acid trip, he's in. He's really good. It's just the regular, everyday Joe and Jane that you're like, who is that? Dead eyes, mannequin, necks out the wazoo. Holy moly. But 6.5. And I hope that people, because recently I have been getting a little bit upset because people have been pointing out, oh, you guys are so negative. You're so negative. But I hope that people realize, it's not just the score. A 6.5 for me for a Wesley Dodds that's pretty positive because I have no connection and I'm having fun talking about it. So I hope that they realize that a 6.5 is not always just awful. It's actually pretty good here.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.